I want to leap over buildings, want to fly over the shores, save the people from the villains, catch the crooks who rob the stores, write my name upon the sky, and when you call me, I'll be there, faster than a lightning flash, rushing through the cool night air. So start ignition, count to zero. I just wanna be a superhero. Fearless thoughts, emotions swirl. I wanna be the man that saves the world.
Well, Joe, April 19th, 2014, man, I hope you put in your tax return for the food stamps you get every year, because now you're 4 days late from tax day.
Well, you shut up, PK. You don't know exactly. You know, every single time. You know, I'm just sick of you running your mouth. You know what? Like I said, people, or like he said, 2 weeks away.
I put in my tax return.
Will you shut up, PK?
Okay.
Let's get going. Let's get on it. April 19th, one of the greatest nights in the history of professional wrestling.
I agree, Joe. It started off with a 10-bell salute, 10 for the Ultimate Warrior. Our favorite wrestler growing up. That is the one thing we always agreed on.
Absolutely. The intensity of that man was unbelievable, and his physique was definitely an inspiration to myself.
No doubt about that. Well, then our first match was Alex Diamond Decker versus Curtis Coleman.
That's right, Alex Diamond Decker. As I say, I predict a future champion. Because I'll tell you something right now. That guy cleaned Coleman's clock. He did the damage that Coleman deserved.
Okay, Joe, first of all, obviously, once again, you are watching a different match than what the rest of us at the arena saw.
No, maybe the one that you're seeing.
Well, Joe, El Pollo del Diablo came out, a.k.a. Jimmy Lee came out.
You don't know that.
And he hit Curtis Coleman with some brass knuckles, at which point, you know, Alex Diamond Decker was able to hit him with his end-of-story finishing maneuver and was able to get the pin 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I'll tell you something. I got news for you, pal. Those brass knuckles, that's another word for loser's limp. The point is, Curtis Coleman wasn't good enough to beat Alex Diamond Decker. I know, because I managed him, and I only managed the best.
Well, Joe, we do have Alex Diamond Decker here today to talk about his match coming up at Heroes vs. Villains on May 3rd.
It's about time to get some greatness in here.
Let me just say one thing, you guys. Listen, I want to clear the rumors up. I had no idea. What's his name? El Pollo Loco?
Yeah,
no idea.
Jimmy Lee. Yeah, Jimmy Lee.
When he came out, I got thumbed in the eye, all right? And the sun was in my eyes, my knee went out. Listen, there was something that happened.
So the sun was in your
and I just want to clear
eyes.
up the fact that I had nothing to do with it.
It's an indoor arena.
And at May the 3rd, I will be your next Ultimate Heavyweight Champion.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I will be the next OSWA Ultimate Champion. Not you, my friend.
Listen, kid, you sit on the
Who
sidelines.
are you calling a kid?
Kid.
And I'll show you who
not a
Alex
kid.
done. You understand? Pay attention, because I'm going to be the next champion.
No. I'm going to be the next champion. You're going to be looking at the gold around my waist, not yours.
You know what? We'll see.
It'll
In
get
2
us
weeks,
We will see.
we'll see who walks out.
Well, Joe, that will be an interesting match because it's going to be a triple threat match.
That's right, I'll tell you something.
Chad Silva versus Alex Diamond Decker versus Lightning Rod Bolt.
That's right, PK. And I'll tell you something right now. We got Alex Diamond Decker, one of the greatest I've ever seen in the world of professional wrestling, and we got Lightning Rod Bolt, a member of the show. Enough said there. The point is, Chad Silva will no longer be champion because he's going up against two of the best. And I'll tell you something right now, Chad Silva, he ain't one of the best, pal.
Well, Joe, I'll tell you something. We'll talk about his match later on tonight. Then we had Z versus a newcomer, Bobby Lee Rogers.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you something, that match was a joke. It was like Friday the 13th meets Deliverance.
You ain't kidding, Joe. He is from Possum Kingdom, South Carolina.
Nobody cares, nobody knows that place is.
Well, Joe, I'll tell you something. Basically, Z hit him with 2 spine busters for the win. I'll tell you something with Bobby Lee Rogers. I'm going to say A for effort, but F in performance. I wish you the best if we see you again here at the O.
That's right, go back and hunt your possums wherever you're from.
Well, Joe, then we had Disorderly Conduct versus the Tag Team Specialists. And representing Disorderly Conduct was Keith Cage and Will Caution.
Absolutely, and I tell you something, they were an impressive duo against the Tag Team
Well,
Specialists.
Joe, I loved how the Tag Team Specialists came out. They came out to their song, Raining Men. Alpha
jeez.
McFly came back from the future in
Oh,
order to
will
be
you
here.
stop that? Nobody comes from the future.
Well, Joe, anyways, they come out in Warrior face paint. They came out with Warrior armbands and Warrior leg bands and came out in true Warrior fashion, running into the ring, shaking the ropes, and I'll tell you something, it was a great match. And how did it end? Jake Hughes did a Warrior press slam on Keith Cage, and then McFly hit him with a Warrior splash and got the pin, 1, 2, 3. And I'll tell you something, it was a great tribute to the Ultimate Warrior.
I will say that I gotta agree with you. That was a great tribute, but I will say, Gorilla Press slamming Keith Cage, not exactly a Herculean feat.
Well, Joe, it was a feat nonetheless. And then we had Mystic Storm come out, and he was going to talk about his up-and-coming match against Mr. Hollywood on May 3rd at Heroes vs. Villains. And Mr. Hollywood came out, and he offered to give or to pay or to bribe, however you want to look at it, Mystic Storm. He offered him a new spaceship, because obviously he believes he comes from the other side of the galaxy.
Oh, he's just patronizing him.
A new spaceship, of course, more money. He also offered him a role in a movie, which if it's a Mr. Hollywood movie, it's probably going to go straight to Betamax.
Will you shut up, PK? I'll tell you something. The likes of George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, and all those other Hollywood
Would have nothing to do with him.
Will you shut up, PK, and let me do the talking?
Sure.
'Cause I'll tell you something right now. That Mystic Storm was stupid. He was an idiot to turn down that package. I live in the same neighborhood as Mr. Hollywood. I know how rich he is, and I know what he has to offer. So I'll tell you something. He's going to go ahead and turn down that offer, and it's going to be another loss on his resume when Mr. Hollywood dominates him.
Well, Joe, Mr. Hollywood, even though he's the corporate champion, he has not defended his title since he got it.
Maybe nobody's worthy.
Well, Joe, he has 30 days to defend it when he first receives it. His 30 days is up at Heroes vs. Villains, and he's going to take on Mystic Storm.
Fine, go ahead. Mystic Storm, good luck. And maybe you get on your rocket ship and go back to Mars, wherever it is that you come from, or you supposedly come from.
Other side of the galaxy.
Who cares?
Joe, Mr. Hollywood seems to care. He's going to buy him a ship.
Shut
And then
up,
we had
PK.
Wasabi versus the Ninja King in a board-breaking competition to see if Wasabi would be once again worthy to face the Ninja King at Heroes vs. Villains.
Right, I say I was a pretty great. I gotta admit, I was very impressed by both parties there. They both did amazing in breaking those boards.
Well, Joe, it came down to 7 boards. You know, the Ninja King breaks all 7 evenly. Then Wasabi goes, okay, light my top one on fire. As soon as it's lit on fire,
Showboat.
as soon as it's lit on fire, he breaks it. I think the Ninja King might be a little afraid, so he takes a board and breaks it over Wasabi's head. The two go at it. They wind up getting broken apart, and I'm telling you, finally at Heroes vs. Villains, we're going to see those two tangle it up, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, that's right. I can't wait for Ninja King to get his hands on Wasabi. And maybe on those 2 little minions of Wasabi, too. That little Red Riding Brat and that other little guy who goes running around the ring.
Well, Joe, then we had Squire number 3 versus Vengeance. Now, Squire number 3 is the bigger of the Squires. It used to be part of the White Knight stable.
Sure.
And so now they work for Z. And basically, Vengeance hit the Squire with 2 Death Valley drops. Basically asked the crowd as a jury, hey, is he guilty or not guilty? They said he was guilty. He hits him again, and he gets the pin, 1, 2, 3. Then Z came out. And it was funny because, his Squire's reaching up to him looking for some assistance. Z steps over him like a rich man stepping over a beggar, and basically gets in the ring, gets into Vengeance's face. Of course, they had to be broken apart, and Joe, they're going to be facing each other as well, Heroes versus Villains.
That's right, I can't wait to see that. Vengeance, or as I like to call him, the Vigilante, has been bullying all these other wrestlers. I can't wait for the Monster Z to get his hands on him and crush him the way he deserves to be crushed.
Well, Joe, regardless of what side of the fence you're on, it's going to be a great match. And then we had Zach Daniels and Rod Bolt versus Ink Inc. What happened was Zach Daniels once again interrupts our commissioner, your boss and mine, Mr. Gentry.
Yeah, okay, yeah. If you want to say it that way, sure, whatever.
So he interrupts him, and he comes out, and he basically says, hey, look, and we also saw on a video where he went to Rod Bolt and said, hey, look, if I get the gold, they have to give me a contract. And Joe, one thing I find interesting about about Zach Daniels is he always says, I don't need the OSWA. Man, he sure is trying to work real hard to get a contract here in the OSWA.
I'll tell you what it is, PK, it's passion. He doesn't care where he wrestles. The point is he wants to get in that ring and do some damage. There's nothing wrong with that. And that just tonight showed his desire.
Well, Joe, he calls out Rod Bolt, and he and Rod Bolt apparently are friends because they're both in the show. And he goes, look, I need some gold so I can get my contract. How about you and I take on Ink Inc? Rod Bolt not excited.
Well, can you blame him? Look at those guys. Rod Bull has been in plenty of battles with Ink Inc. And yeah, it's no roller coaster ride. It's not fun being in the ring with those two monsters.
Well, Joe, I'll tell you something. It was quite the match. It was a very physical match. And I will admit, Rod Bolt and Zach Daniels did better than I thought they would, acting as a tag team.
That's right.
They've obviously done some practicing together, but once again, Ink Inc. comes out on top.
But don't you forget the fight that those two, Rod Bolt and Zach Daniels, they gave towards Ink Inc. Zach Daniels, once he gets back in the OSWA, he's going to be doing damage like nobody's ever done before, and you just set that in stone, ditch diggers.
Well, Joe, it doesn't matter because I'll tell you this much. In our record book, a WW is a win and an L is a loss. In this match, Ink Inc. got the win. Psycho slapped Rod Bolt several times in the chest, finally giving that guy some color.
Will you shut up, PK?
And then, Joe, they hit him with a Black Lotus drop. That's their finishing maneuver for the win, and they retain the tag team championships.
Okay, I give it to him, yeah, but you got to admit that was a fight.
I already admitted it.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
You're welcome. I'm glad you're paying attention to every word I say during the recap.
Yeah, well, I tell you, man, whatever. Let's keep going.
That's right, I caught you in another mistake.
Shut up, PK.
Then we had Cody McCauley versus Chad Silva, and I'll tell you something, it was a really good match, and I wish we would have seen the end of it, but what happened was Keith Cage and Will Caution, of course, they see their guy starting to lose, so they get up on the ring apron to distract the ref, at which point Clint Eller comes, pulls them down off of the ring, and starts fighting.
He put his nose in business where it didn't need to be put.
Well, Joe, they start fighting, then all of a sudden, the whole locker room comes out, because at first, Alex Diamond Decker comes out, he's trying to get a hold of Chad Silva to try to get some advantage of him, take advantage of him prior to Heroes versus Villains.
Yeah, that's your side, PK.
Well, Joe, anyways, it turned into a big old melee. Refs came out, securities came in the ring, and the bottom line is we see all the players out there that's going to be there, Heroes versus Villains.
And an awesome match was spoiled. But don't you worry out there, all you ditch diggers out there, because I'll tell you something right now. Clint was the one who spoiled that match. I'm going to bring him into my office after this recap, and I'm going to ride him up.
I'd like to know where your office is.
You don't need to know. So you continue to do your job.
Oh, is that the third stall in the bathroom?
Will you shut up,
And nobody ever
PK?
goes in?
I'm not the Fonz.
Okay.
Will you get on with
Yeah,
it?
you're definitely not that cool. Anyways,
Shut
Joe,
up.
May 3rd, Heroes versus Villains. We got Z versus Vengeance in a last man standing match. Can you believe that? That's going to be a great match. Talk about two guys that can't stand each other. You got the Monster Z and his psychosis versus Vengeance and his, need for justice. And I'm telling you,
psychosis.
it's going to be awesome. We're going to have the Ninja King versus Wasabi. Finally, Wasabi's going to get his hands on the Ninja King. It's set in stone. He can't send in a minion. He can't send in a lackey. He can't hide behind them. He's going to have to face Wasabi.
Never hide behind him.
Then we've got the tag team specialist with the Outlaw Johnny Walker versus Disorderly Conduct, which I'm looking forward to because, as we know, Clint Eller is the Outlaw Johnny Walker, and he's been wanting to get a hold of Cody McCauley ever since that guy got his contract and just basically made him do all the little things he didn't want to do.
Multiple personalities. It's tragic.
Then we got, Coleman versus Jimmy Lee in a brass knuckles on a pole match. Whoever gets those brass knuckles down off the pole gets to use them against the opponent. That'll be an interesting match to see.
I can't wait to see that one too, PK.
Well, Joe, then we have, of course, then our main event will be Chad Silva versus Alex Diamond Decker versus Rod Bolt for the Ultimate Championship. They're going to, basically, it's a three-way match. And Joe, the thing is, I'd have to say, in this match, the odds are against Chad Silva because if Rod Bolt is pinned by Alex Diamond Decker or vice versa, that winner becomes the Ultimate Champion.
That's right. What a concept that you can grasp through your simple mind. And I'll tell you something. I'll tell you what the real main event is that I'm gonna be there.
Actually, Joe, there's another match that we haven't mentioned yet.
What?
So I hate to take away your thunder.
Will you shut up, PK? Will you do your job?
But we've got Mr. Hollywood versus Mystic Storm for the for the corporate championship.
That's right.
I'm telling you, Joe, I'm looking forward to May 3rd. It's going to be a great set of matches. Heroes versus Villains, our big show for the year. And I'm telling you, folks, if you come, you will not be disappointed.
That's right. I'm going to be there too. So don't worry, all you ditch diggers out there. Greatness will be in presence.
We'll see you all in 2 weeks.